Welcome to BaseballGuys.com. I'm your host on Around the Horn, Ray Flowers. Going to start out talking about Troy Tulowitzki today. Now, everyone's favorite shortstop, the elite guy at the position, the player who was taken number one overall at that spot, number one overall in some fantasy leagues, regardless of position. We all know he's hurt again, and that's the main reason why I didn't draft Tulowitzki, why I wouldn't draft Tulowitzki, why I really hesitated to recommend to anyone who's making Troy Tulowitzki a top 10 pick in this season. The guy is always hurt. In fact, since he became a Major League regular, he's averaged the last 5 seasons just 134 games played, which is not a lot. Basically, if you took Tulowitzki, you had to know he was going to miss at least a month of action. That's just what he has done the past 5 seasons. Now, unfortunately, it looks like it could be much worse than that. Tulowitzki's played 47 games to this point, and there's an open question about whether or not he might end the season with 47 games played in 2012. Now, this is speculation, of course, but the Rockies are running another MRI today. Guess what? Number 3, folks. The third MRI leads me to think there's something going on there they're not quite positive with. They think sports hernia issue, who might need surgery. If that's the case, he can miss a couple of months with the potential again to miss the rest of the season depending upon how his recovery goes. A third MRI to me suggests again that there's an issue here, that the club isn't sure how to proceed, and they're not quite sure what to do with their star shortstop. Hopefully we'll have some clarification by the end of the day today. Mark Trumbo, we got all the clarification we need with him. The guy is a masher. He can hit. Currently in the top 10 right now in the American League in home runs, batting average, and RBIs. 326, 16 home runs, 47 RBIs. He's also got a 1,009 OPS, which is third in the American League. Mark Trumbo, folks. Is he going to continue to do it? He's not going to continue to do it. I've been saying that, though, for a month, and he's kept it up. I'm not sure we're talking about a Brian LaHair fall-off here, but we're going to see some pullback with Trumbo. He's only got a 16% line drive rate, which is very low for anyone hoping to hit 300, let alone someone hitting over 325. His home run to fly ball ratio of 25% is big. Now, could he hold on to that? He could, but I wouldn't be at all surprised to see that number drop back down into the teens. With that, we're obviously likely to see a regression in the home runs. That batting average of balls in play is over 370 still. I wouldn't be surprised if that number regressed substantially the rest of the way, taken away from that batting average. And again, his walk to strikeout ratio is 0.39, below the big league average. That is not the approach of a guy who's going to hit 325. Trumbo has been terrific. He should continue to be effective. I'm surprised at where he's been to this point, and I can't see him continuing to hold on to the greatness he's shown thus far in 2012. Barry Zito showed some greatness, and hopefully you ran from that quickly if you had the opportunity. He was looking great early on in the year, had a 2.98 ERA for the Giants just 3 starts ago. Where's that ERA now? 4.35. He's allowed 17 runs in his last 3 outings. And look, you had to know this was coming. The 4.35 ERA Zito has right now, the Giants will take that over the course of the season. He was never going to be a sub-3 ERA pitcher like he showed early in the year. A 1.25 strikeout to walk ratio is awful. It's almost, 45% or 55% of the big league average, It's just a terrible mark, and it continues what has been a downward career trend since Zito joined the Giants. He's not a mixed league option. He's an NL-only option. Even at this point, it's very difficult to, suggest having him active in an NL-only because, again, 17 earned runs the last 3 times he's been on the hill. Barry Zito's really struggling for anything right now. Aaron Cook on the other side of the bay, he's not struggling for anything, folks. Aaron Cook is absolutely killing it for the Oakland Athletics. Since taking over in the 9th inning, he's 4 for 4 in saves. His ERA on the season below .6. His WHIP on the season below .9. He's striking out a batter per inning. Everything looks absolutely fantastic with Ryan Cook. But let me point out something that needs to be mentioned. 2 things. He's holding batters to a 93 batting average. .093. You really think he's going to hold batters to an under 100 average for the rest of the season? Not likely. And secondly, despite all the fantastic work he has done, few people have noticed he's walking damn near 5 guys per 9 innings. You can have success doing that. Guys like Carlos Marmol have done that. But when you're walking 5 guys per 9 innings, that you're putting yourself in a lot of harm's way when that batting average comes up. And it will come up. If he continues to walk batters at the rate he's walking now, things could get very ugly very quickly with Ryan Cook. Not taking anything away from what he's done. I'm not saying he's going to fall out of that role and cede it to a guy like Fuentes or Balfour. He's been great. Just keep your eye on things. If someone comes to you with a strong offer for Ryan Cook's services, you'd be wise to consider it. Aramis Ramirez should have been someone you were targeting to add from another team a month ago. Now, why is that? Because he was performing very badly. Now, just like he did in 2011, guess what? He's heating up again in 2012 after a slow start. Last year, dreadful. 2 home runs the first 2 months of the season. I told everyone to remain patient. What happened? 26 home runs, 93 RBIs at the end of the year. Flash forward to 2011. What happened? He hit 214 in May. I told everyone not to panic. In April, excuse me. What happened in May? 20 RBIs. What's happening in June? He's hitting well in the 300s with an OPS of over 1,000. Aramis Ramirez will be productive. He will be fine for your fantasy squad. He is well worth the look as a top 10 third baseman in mixed leagues, despite the slow start to the season. I'll point this fact out. It's the same thing I turned to all last season when I was discussing Aramis Ramirez. The last 8 seasons, he has had 450 at-bats. And 450 at-bats isn't even a full season of work. But the last 8 times he's gotten to 450 at-bats, he's had at least 26 home runs and at least 83 RBIs. Okay? The numbers will be there. The production will be there. Hopefully you bought low when you had the chance. With the suddenly surging Aramis Ramirez. A player who is not surging, but one who may be doing a little bit better than we had hoped, was his teammate, Shaun Marcum. Now, Marcum missed the start with an elbow issue. There was a little bit of worry. Marcum's come out and said, look, I'm okay. I don't think it's a major thing. I'm good to go. Now, it's still not certain if the Brewers will allow Marcum to take his next scheduled start, if they'll put him on the disabled list and give him 15 days. But tests have been run. There's no structural damage here, no surgeries indicated, anything like that. At worst case scenario, it looks like a short trip to the disabled list. Best case scenario, we might see him back on the hill in just a few days. And then finally, to close things off here on Around the Horn, talk about a couple of bullpen situations. Jose Valverde, 7 runs allowed his last 2 outings. His strikeout rate this season is barely 6 per 9, less than half of what it was at his peak. To repeat that again, his strikeout rate has gone down 50% from where it was in his peak. His walk rate is through the roof this season as well. His strikeout rate, by the way, has gone down every season in the last 5 years, and he's continuing that trend again. We're almost to a 1-to-1 ratio of walks to strikeout at this point with Jose Valverde. I know he was 49 for 49 last year, but I'm getting very, very nervous. And by the way, that's why I didn't even have him in my top 15 ranking this year at the relief position. Hopefully you listen to that. JJ Putz had another rough outing, blew his 4th save the other night. The ERA is bad, the whip isn't good, but he's still throwing strikes. He's not walking anyone. He's still getting outs. David Hernandez is the guy to look out there in his secondary role, but I still think JJ Putz figures things out and has a productive season. John Axford, another struggling guy, 4th blown save for him the other night. He's had all kinds of problems the last 7 to 10 days. K-Rod, Francisco Rodriguez, the pitcher to watch there. The Brewers continue to maintain faith in Axford, but if you're an Axford owner, you better go out and pick up K-Rod to handcuff yourself. And then one guy who's going in the other direction going up, Carlos Marmol. 4 straight scoreless outings, which has to be a minor miracle. He's looked good since being turned back into the 9th inning option for the Cubs. Remains to be seen if he can hold on to that. Remains to be seen if he'll even remain on the Cubs. He could be dealt at some point before the trade deadline. But Carlos Marmol slowly figuring things out, working his way back in to a position of prominence in the fantasy game. I'm Ray Flowers, BaseballGuys.com. Thanks for joining me on the Around the Horn. You know the drill. I'll talk to y'all again soon.